Rhode Island cities and towns are handing out the 400,000 at-home COVID-19 test kits the state received for residents starting today. 12 News reporter Chelsea Jones visited several locations and joins us now live in East Providence with a look at how people are reacting. Chelsea?
Well, Mike, here in East Providence, it's the most active distribution clinic that we've seen so far today. Even if you take a look right now, the line is still wrapped around the block and it's actually bleeding into the neighboring neighborhoods here because the demand is just so high. They've actually already had to restock the COVID-19 testing kits at this location. Here's how the rest of the state dealt with theirs today. 2 tests, 1 box, results in 15 minutes. That's what Rhode Island residents across the state were itching to get their hands on Thursday.
I see a lot of people getting sick, and I feel sorry for them, but this COVID has to stop. I'm tired of it.
Maria Leonard says she's vaccinated and stopped by Warwick Public Library and got her kit for extra safety. In Warwick, you had to fit in one of these categories to get one. Over in East Providence, the requirements were similar. Families with children who are school age, those who are immunocompromised, and those 65 and up were eligible to get one of these kits through their drive-through clinic. This massive line started well before the clinic opened at 4. People we spoke with Thursday impressed by the process.
It was as simple as it could be. You walked up to the desk and they gave you a test.
And a little further up north in Pawtucket, you only needed to be a resident to pick up a testing kit, which was convenient for some.
I went to Walgreens, they didn't have any. I went to CVS, they didn't have any. So for me, without a car and that, and I'm walking with a walker, it's kind of hard for people with walkers to get around.
And Stop and Shop telling 12 News they are also handing out items for residents. Rhode Island and Massachusetts locations will be giving out N95 masks while supplies last. We can expect to see those in stores by the end of the month. Live in East Providence, I'm Chelsea Jones, 12 News.
An update now on Rhode Island's COVID situation. The number of people in the hospital remains well above 500. Today, the health department reported more than 2,900 new infections and unfortunately the deaths of another 9 people. The transmission rate remains very high.
And demand for take-home tests remains high. This was the line of cars waiting to pick up tests in East Providence this afternoon. Several cities and towns are handing out tests over the next few days, but some are doing it differently than others. 12 News reporter Chelsea Jones went to a number of handouts today. She joins us now live from East Providence. Chelsea?
Well, Mike, you know, things are wrapping up here in about 30 minutes at the East Providence Clinic, and I know you guys have seen the long lines over the last couple of hours, but right now things are slowly dying down here. And in order to come to this East Providence location, you have to have a family that includes school-aged children. You also have to either be immunocompromised or over the age of 65. But in other locations across our state, you just had to be a city or town resident. We start the day in Pawtucket at the Senior Center there. As the snow fell, a steady crowd stopped by to pick up at-home COVID-19 testing kits. All you needed was proof of residency, and one of these were yours.
I went to Walgreens, they didn't have any. I went to CVS, they didn't have any. So for me, without a car and that, and I'm walking with a walker, it's kind of hard for people with walkers to get around.
For many, these testing kit distribution clinics were a matter of convenience. In Warwick at the public library, you had to be in one of the targeted groups to get a test. That includes senior citizens, those with underlying health conditions, Warwick Public Schools, the Housing Authority, a women's shelter, and the fire department.
It was as simple as it could be. You walked up to the desk and they gave you a test.
Many people looking at other means to get their hands on a test, but weren't successful.
Every time I went on CVS, Walgreens, 5, 7, 8 days waiting, you know.
The state received 400,000 COVID tests, 70% of them going to individual municipalities and 30% going to community organizations, according to the governor. We spoke with several people at locations across the state Thursday who say they were taking precautions.
I got my 2 shots, but I would rather be safe than sorry that I get sick because I'm a high risk.
Now, Cranston will be holding a similar drive-through clinic like this one on Saturday from 10 until noon. There, households are eligible for 4 COVID-19 tests. You just have to be a resident of that community. Live in East Providence tonight, I'm Chelsea Jones, 12 News.